Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved and wonderful, self-appointed, wonderful, Star Wars dad, Nooch Too Good. And it's been a little while. It's been maybe like over a month since we looked at comments on videos. I don't think there's been anything especially like controversial lately, at least outside of Reddit, but whatever. Not a lot of controversial stuff happening on the channel lately, but we can get to some fun comments. We'll start with we would look back over the last week with a few videos and see what you've been saying about the game, maybe talk a little bit about it. We'll start here with the Stop doing this video. These are mistakes. We make a lot of videos here. I do have, when I look back at it, there are multiple videos on the channel about mistakes people are making, but let's see what you're saying. And I think when we talk about mistakes, it always kind of leads people to talking about, you know, questions and what should they be doing. So, Eduardo Cazola, I got an important question. My new account just reached level 85. Now in the ship credit shop, is it more worth it to take the ships like Geos or Razor Crest, pieces, or some Zetas now and then? Thank you so much for all the help you're giving us. In the ship credit shop, the Fleet Arena store, new players should be grabbing two things always. That's two things always. Razor Crest shards whenever they are available, 2 or 3 times a week, and General Grievous shards whenever they are available 2 or 3 times a week. Other than that, maybe some Sunfac shards. I think it's worth it to grab Sunfac shards in there. And the only place you can get Geonosian Spy in the game is in the Fleet Arena store, so you should get him there also if you're farming the Geonosians, which I recommend, but you know, you may not be because it's a free country, it's a free world. So other than that, Zetas, and then some more Zetas. That's everything in the Fleet Arena shop. If you guys want some more info on that, go take a look at my shipments video. I've got a few videos out there on beginner's guide to shipments. Go take a look at those. Mr. Dynamite Dog, I have more problems with Omegas than Zetas right now. Am I doing something wrong? LOL. I have 70 Omegas, but like 160 Zetas. I don't think this is that uncommon of a problem. I think that, generally speaking, Omegas, Zetas, and Omicrons are the currency of the game right now, especially if you're buying Lightspeed bundles, if you're buying Lightspeed tokens, on a few characters, but not many. If you are spending on the game and buying those Lightspeed bundles, you're going to get way ahead of the Zetas. And Omegas, the thing is that it seems like they come around a little bit more than Zetas, but you apply more Omegas to every character than Zetas. Do you? Yeah, I guess you do. I don't think this is an uncommon problem. It is a challenge. Just make sure if you're buying like Zeta packs or you just gotta find Omegas too. Just make sure you grab some Omegas now and then. And that's why they're charging money for them, because everybody needs Omegas. It's right in there with the Zetas and it's required as well. Let's see here. I'm still working on my from Kyle Rave. Working on my Phoenix team while working in Old Republic. I decided we are old. We need Public because I like the Old Republic. I'm not reading the rest of this comment. This is a pretty good observation from Razor Edge. I disagree with the leaving gear off characters. My reasoning is that the extra GP helps in TB. Even throwing random mods on helps boost GP. Leaving the extra gear, what I always talk about is I don't feel you should, if you are not absolutely farming a certain character and or team, you shouldn't gear them up until you have all the gear available for the next level. I firmly believe that. I don't think it's worth it adding a few pieces of gear here and there on a character when you can't finish off that level. And then what happens? Well, now you got the character that you are farming heavily and you just applied all that gear to the other character that you're not farming, and you're not going to finish them, but you don't have gear for the guy you got, and you just wasted resources. And no, it's not worth it for a couple extra 100 points in territory battles, really? Like 100 points here or there? Is your guild, I mean, if your guild's 100 points away from a star and nobody's got it, and you're the last person to deploy, and you could deploy, but you're 100 points short, apply the gear. Please, apply the gear. Otherwise, don't apply gear to characters until you got the whole gear piece built and or you are 100% sure that you're going to be leveling up that character and that team. And then MS32816 says something's really important too. The whole update removing the level requirement on gear has thrown me off now, and how I should handle applying gear versus leveling up 7-star characters. What tier should I be getting them to before I level up? I'm going to say this. I don't have a great answer for this yet. It's still pretty new. And I think it does mean it is important to look at what team you're farming. So right now, like on a couple of my accounts, I'm farming Lord Vader and I'm farming the clones. So I am actually relicking the clones at 4, 3, 4, and 5 stars to get them usable. Are they more usable? We don't really know yet. I don't know what the power creep looks like. I think they are. I think it makes them a better character, but I think it really depends. And if you're going for like Leia Organa, maybe you leave Lobot at 3 stars and Relic 3, because that's where you can do them. I think it really depends on the overall makeup of your roster, but I'm still adjusting to this myself, so I'm not sure I have a super solid answer for that one quite yet. Orange Gorilla. One of the things I talked about was not applying Zetas and Omicrons to like purple gear characters unless you absolutely know you can use them, like Qui-Gon leader ability. You can put a Zeta and Omicron in him while he's in purple gear, and he still is a great leader for like a Relic Anakin or a Relic Poncho Bros in Grand Arena. But a lot of characters, I see a lot of Zetas and Omicrons applied to a lot of characters that are not going to be used anywhere in the game, and they're at gear 8, and then you stop working on them for like 6 months. I mean, you're wasting Zetas and Omicrons. So the question from Orange Gorilla: would you suggest if we have sunk Zetas and Omicrons into characters, we should push them all the way or just cut your losses? Here's your economics lesson. You guys know I love a good economics lesson. It's the sunk cost fallacy. It is literally the sunk cost fallacy. Well, I put a Zeta and an Omicron in this character. I might as well go ahead and spend all the gear and relic this character up because I spent that on... No! No, no, no. Cut your losses. Move on. Now, that said, maybe you've got a team you can build around that character and it makes sense. Generally speaking, what I've seen is, no, that's not the case. There's an Omicron Luminara Unduli. There's no team to build around her. Whatever it is, cut your losses, move forward with your roster. Eventually, you'll probably find a use for that Zeta or Omicron down the road. And last one we'll look at here is from Interceptor 333. Hey, Nooch, it looks like another Gen Xer here to me. Hey, Nooch, I've been free to play since day one. A day one free-to-play person in this game is gonna be, if you've been playing since the game started, you've probably got a really awesome roster. I gotta say that. Resources were finite. The gear grind was the meta. At smaller GP, sometimes a Zeta Omicron 6-dot mod is enough for the usefulness of that character. It's inefficient, but not wrong. We all play differently and collect differently. I agree with that 100%. You just got to pick your spots if you're gonna do it. And what the deal is, Interceptor, is most people don't have the game knowledge. You've been playing this game forever, right? You know, oh, this player's at gear 11. I got Wampa at gear 11, but I know where I am in Grand Arena. I can apply that Zeta and Omicron, and Wampa's still gonna do some work for me. Plus, I got the Focus Datacron now. Whereas a new player might not know that, and they just go out and get a 3-star, Night Trooper, and they put a Zeta and an Omicron on 3-star Night Trooper and leave them at gear 8, and then a year later, they're still sitting there at gear 8. And it's not really doing him any good. So I would agree with you for people that really have a full grip and grasp on what they are looking to do in the game and understand all the ins and outs. But for new players, that's where I see the mistake made the most often. So I get what you're saying. I'm trying to deal with folks here that are maybe struggling at the beginning or early in the game. Now, this was an interesting video, and I didn't realize I hadn't made this video in like a year and a half of which gamer are you. And I think this is always an interesting and fun conversation to have, where you're sitting in the game with your roster, what your roster looks like. And it also, I think, when you think about, where you are, labels always, we talk about labels, and labels aren't necessarily a great thing in life. You label something so that if you label me, you negate me. Was it Kierkegaard or Dick Van Patten? We all know the deal, right? But if you put that label onto your roster, you can kind of get an idea of where your next steps are and what you're looking at. So it's a useful conversation to have, as long as you keep it within the bounds of like not just labeling something to get rid of it. You're a liberal, you're a conservative, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, blah, 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 blah. Shut up, go home. Let's all just make yourselves a little better. Anyway, hey, Derek starts out with a funny comment. 550, I don't know what to say there. So you're telling me I've been stuck in the early to mid game for 5 years? I don't know, man. Sorry. I don't, like I said, this is kind of this is an awakening for Derek Alias. Oh God, I've been stuck in the early to mid game for 5 years. Tyler Ryan says, been playing since the game dropped, and once Datacron start over. Been playing since the game dropped, and once Datacrons dropped, I stopped grinding as hard and settled in. Too much dollars in the end game. The focus is solely on Datacrons at that point. I don't think this is a unique comment. I know that I don't make much Datacron content on this channel because not a lot of people watch it. And I realize that my audience, you know, for you guys is largely consistent of like early and mid gamers. We're moving into the late game and the end game now with my, you know, that's part of why I'm bringing my rosters up, is so I can jump into that arena and be made fun of by end gamers for how dumb I am. Thumbs up. But I get it, man. Datacrons, a lot of people object to them and don't want to spend money. I think even Arnold doesn't like max out his Datacron spending just because, yeah, it just doesn't feel good, and it certainly is like, yeah, it's just not enjoyed by all players, that's for sure. Emperor's Crusader, such a shame you can't just collect your favorite characters and be competitive. Just got Revan. He's too undergeared for me to use him for anything, so I guess I'll grind a little more. I gotta be honest, I've never related to that comment. I enjoy the grind, and a big part of the game for me is the building and the grinding and the planning and the looking ahead and seeing what's there and knowing, do I need to drop some bucks on this bundle or hold off on that bundle because it's not as efficient? The efficiency and the economics of the game and the grinding and the building up, I really enjoy that part of the game. I have definitely heard people express that sentiment before. I'll just be honest, Emperor's Crusader, maybe this isn't the game for you. Or maybe it is, and you can just play it casually and have some fun. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a place in this game for everyone, but that's kind of the game, is collecting the characters at 7 stars and then working on the gear and then working on that. I mean, that's kind of how all these games work. So yeah, I really don't relate to that too much. All right, let's cut something off here. SashaKzi says, so with that in mind, I'm in mid-game with 9.1 million galactic power. Carbonite 2 here, I'm confused. 9.1 million galactic power. You shouldn't be in Carbonite 2, generally speaking, but I will say this, if you are a casual player and just enjoying the game, first of all, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Maybe that's another video to make, the casual versus the grinder versus whatever. I get that. And then, we really gotta be rude? I mean, do we really gotta be rude, guys? I mean, this is just not necessary. Everybody's got a different level. This is I've said a lot, this is a big tent community. There's room for everybody. SashaKzi, you're welcome here. And I'll say OG Hostel and Kai's Joseph, I think I've seen your names before. You're welcome here too, but come on. Is that really necessary? Is it really necessary? Not really. Oh, I get it. I get it. Oh, he hates me. Ha! OG Hostel hates me. He's a troll. Remove. See ya. Have a nice day. I'm not going to remove this one. I'll just remove the one where he's insulting somebody else. But, okay. He hates me. Nooch Derangement Syndrome right there. I didn't see that. There you go. Personally, I think you're wrong. Well, there you go. Of course you think I'm wrong. I woke up and I was breathing today, so I'm wrong. There you go. Nooch Derangement Syndrome is in full force. Type it in comments. I want to see Nooch Derangement Syndrome in comments. Put it out there. Here's an interesting one from Chris Hardy. It's interesting to watch this video and compare it to the old valuations of where you are in the game. 8.2 million Erodium for 2 GLs, 2 GL fleets. Old way, general consensus said 8 million was late game. Then Lightspeed bundles came out. Now if I went by the standard, I'm still mid game. Fat Phil put out a video a few months ago saying if you're consistently getting the Conquest characters before they hit Proving Grounds, then what? Your late game? Is that, they didn't really finish that sentence. So he's saying your late game on that. I understand kind of what's being said there, because the Proving Grounds characters are all, not all, 90% impactful and important to the game and make differences and lift characters and maybe form their own teams sometimes. But, I don't know. And I get that idea. I don't know. I still think the whole roster, the roster as a whole makes sense, but I kind of understand what Fat Phil's saying there. He's all right. Okay. This comment's in here like 20 times. I skipped getting free crystals. I guess there was a pop-up that I could get free crystals, and I just skipped over it. I'll be honest with you guys. When I'm recording videos I get pop-ups That's hard. It's hard to notice when a pop-up like that comes up and it's something for free, because 99.99% of the time it's a pop-up for something that costs you something. So I guess I missed on some free crystals here. That's unfortunate, but thanks for pointing it out 857 times, guys. I appreciate that. Coming up next, the I Was Wrong video. We're talking about the update in this video, and at the beginning, I really felt like I was very concerned about relicking these characters, you know, like these clones up here, getting them, having new characters who didn't really understand the mechanics of the game. We kind of mentioned that earlier, relicking these characters at 3 and 4 and 5 stars before they're really ready to use them. And as I go deeper into it, I do think it's a really great mechanic I do think we should all keep our eyes on those new players in our guilds and make sure they're not doing crazy things like relicking Cal Kestis when they have no other UFUs ready and not even doing it like just because they like a character. Just keep an eye out for your compatriots of that. But I do think it's a good update. Sanjita talked me into it. Let's take a look here. McMoore DP, kind of echoing what we talked about here a little bit. I think whether the change is good or meh comes down to power scaling, right? Are these characters good? Even like, is a 4-star relic character good? We don't really know yet, and maybe it's only as good as a Gear 12 character. This info might be available at this point, but I haven't dug into it. Question is, how strong is a 4-star relic character? Is it the equivalent of a 7 Gear 8, 7-star Gear 12? That will decide the utility and if the game is really worth the investment. 6 dot mods and Datacron access are, to me, the biggest benefit. I think that's true. Since you can now just gear a character up to Gear 12 automatically, right? Everybody can go to Gear 12 at all-star levels. Well, you can add 6 dot mods to them right away, and you can upgrade all their abilities, right? That was also, all those roadblocks were removed. So that stuff is really going to help a lot as you're upgrading characters. But we're still remaining to be seen, you know, what the impact and the utility of these low-star relic characters is. CCMD9DB. Wow, that's CCMD9DB. Why aren't you at your post? Should we early gamers move the focus from shards to gear for long-term use characters? I don't think so, no. Long-term use characters, there's still gotta be 7 stars. And if you look at a lot of the journeys in the game, the non-galactic legend journeys, a lot of them still require 7-star characters to go to the end of it. So you're still going to need those 7-star characters in 95% of the cases. I think that the cases where the gearing up is gonna be for like new characters, for people that are later in the game. I don't think new players should be focused on this hardly at all, and especially considering if you're relicking the new characters, well, that's 400 chirotech you're spending per character, then a bunch of relic gear. And you won't be able to go back and relic some of the requirements for some of your GLs. So just it's going to be different. It's going to be done on a roster-to-roster basis. So just be aware of, you know, it is still true. The fact that you can gear up these characters early on probably makes it even more true that the shards are easy and the gear is hard. And I do think the gear is more available now than it has been in a long time in the game, but the gear is still hard. So just be careful where you're applying it, because that's the toughest stuff. The shards are easy. Go on, do your sims, boom, out, done. 3 months later, 2 months later, you got the character 7 stars, moving on. Just be careful about just throwing gear around everybody, because you just don't want to be wasting it. Looking forward to relicking my Watt early, says Matthew Sikorsky. All right, here's an example of what he said earlier. Watt Tambor, once you get him active, you could put a Zeta on Watt Tambor at 4-star and Gear 5, Gear 6, Gear 7. You could put his Zeta on there, and he's useful. You don't have to relic Watt Tambor for him to be useful. You really don't. You put that Zeta on him, he applies the tank tech to Sith Eternal or some other character, then he dies, and he has applied his tank tech to somebody, and that tank tech lasts the rest of the battle, whether he's alive or not. So it's actually the opposite of this. Watt would be a character that would not gain as much benefit from relicking early. And you have to have a Relic 7 for Jedi Master Kenobi, so he's got to be 7 stars anyway. So Watt's actually one of those characters we talked about earlier that can be useful with a Zeta at lower gear levels and stars. And here's what everybody thought going in, Ian Holberg. You can also now unlock Jedi Knight Luke with 5-star Hoda and Wampa, and you could theoretically unlock Jedi Cal with a full squad of 3-star units. No, you can't, because the journeys require 7-star characters. And I replied, if you could get through the events, those star levels, and theoretically, yes, someone should test that. But then you look at the game and you need them at 7 stars, right? So, but God forbid I reply to somebody, have you tried this? Because it still says, yeah, that's correct. It still says 7 stars for everybody. Crazy how you don't even know the game. Nooch Derangement Syndrome! It's just so funny. It's just so funny, man. Track Media Only says, I still think overall it's a bad idea. It's a new player trap to corner them into spending. There's a case to be made for that. There's a case to be made for that. I really think it will cause more people to get frustrated and quit. It can be really good for those of us that have been playing a while and mostly know what we're doing. You know, the one thing about Galaxy Heroes is that it doesn't take very long to get to level 85. So unlike other games like this, like you guys know that I'm 5 months deep in Marvel Strike Force and I've still got another 4 or 5 months to go before I get to the max level. And Raid Shadow Legends takes a year to get to max level or more. I don't even know how long it's taken forever. You get to max level here and now in 2.5 weeks. And then you just start throwing gear everybody. You gotta be careful. Don't just throw your gear out there to get low star characters relic. It's not necessarily valuable for your roster. Last one here from Sala Nacho. In general, you want people to excited and engage with the newest content as quickly as possible, and this update allowed for that. That's true. Instead of introducing all these new characters but not being able to use them for months and months, you can get people excited and make them immediately usable. We think, right? We think. Again, we don't really know how the power, you know, increase works with Relic and the 3-star character, but I get the idea here. You're launching games, and now we've had this game for 10 years now, almost 10 years. It's coming up in 2 months, 10 years, 3 months. And for the longest period of time, it was just a squad arena game. You know, you just farmed one team, got to the top of squad arena, the next team came out and everything. So I get it. And I do think it's good, and it's clearly a focus of Capital Games right now that they're giving everybody all these catch-up mechanics, and they're making relics available at lower star levels to theoretically make these characters more usable. So I get that, and I think that's definitely in Capital Games' plans. How does it play out long-term? How does it play out with rosters? I guess we're going to find out over time here. All right, this video I published about Conquest. To me, Conquest has felt a lot more grindy and more difficult this time with some of the feats and some of the characters. As I look back on it, I think that a big part of that is last year with Conquest, I did the Gungans, and then I got the Queen Amidala team, and then I got the Balin Skull team, and then I got the Ahsoka team. So I had all the teams from last year on my roster, and that lasted me in Conquest for a long time, even up through the first quarter to half of this year. There were still a lot of feats in Conquest from those teams that I farmed last year. And then this year, I haven't been farming those early. You know, I didn't farm the Bad Batch, I didn't farm the clones, I didn't farm Mace Windu. They'll come on my roster pretty soon, but I think that's playing a big part in it as I really look back on it. Because, you know, Conquest is geared around all the new characters, but I'm gonna read one comment here from Jay Chung. Jay Chung has been an ally of mine in the game, and I mean like a literal ally, not just an ally like in my game, and not just an ally in my guild. Jay Chung and I've been playing this game together for at least 4 years now. He's been a member for a long time. He's managing my old account. Jay Chung and me are tight. All right, so. Not sure why anyone else might be having difficulty since roster makeup is probably the biggest variable, but I think part of the reason you're struggling with this Conquest is just your general approach to Conquest. Now, if I didn't know Jay Chung so well, I might be a little defensive because he's approaching it with you words. You're doing this and you're doing that instead of saying, I feel like, although that doesn't really apply to the situation. But anyway, from what I've seen, you only try to double and triple dip on feats via the Datacron nodes. That's true. You're not often trying to do it elsewhere, and that makes things difficult. That's true. Number 2, you don't have multiple data disk setups, i.e. one for killing fast, one for max survivability. Well, is there a way to make data disk setups? The data disk, I wish I could save, I'd love to save give me a data disk loadout. Give me a data disk name, let me see the names so I know, you know, just something so I don't have to assign them all and then unassign the ones I don't want. But I get it. I get it. Multiple, using data disks for different stuff. And 3, possibly the biggest thing is your hatred of cheese and desire to auto battles. Because I have had a verbal desire. I don't like to cheese stuff. I just want to auto my way through Conquest. Setting up funky squads like Jedi Master Luke and Watt for basically an unkillable tank, plus 3 units to spam whatever buff debuff you need for a feed, is a pretty crucial part of red crating, in my opinion. And you are correct. And I think it's time for me to give in on Conquest. So it's time for me to start putting more effort into it with you guys. So going forward in in Conquest when we're playing, and I'll say another thing, I've never really made Conquest content a big part of this channel, and now when it comes out, I include it as my streams for the first week it's out. We stream myself going through Conquest, so Conquest is just becoming more to be here recently, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna start working on double and triple dipping on feats. I'm going to start working on going outside those Datacron nodes when necessary. I did find a way to use like a lesser Datacron node this time around, which was kind of nice. And we'll start working on cheese stuff, and that's all the direction of Jay Chung. So big thanks to Jay Chung. I will work on it, and that's good feedback, and I'll take it, and we will absorb that and move the channel forward. And then finally, today's video, actually, or yesterday's video when you're watching this, every character you don't need in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I think that's, I knew this would generate a lot of commentary, and last year I released this, it was like a nuke dropped on me from the Mace Windu thing, but for those of you guys who were around for that. But let's take a look at this. This has been some really good discussion. First, from Master Wolf there at the top, you really should put a disclaimer on this that you're completely ignoring Rote, since you have several characters that are must-haves for Rote. Young Han, Kit Fisto, Rote Operations, IPD, Ugnot. Yeah, I'm not gonna, I can't disclaimer everything, just, no, I'm not doing that. IPD, Ugnot, IGD6, TIE Reaper, Emperor Shuttle, I mean, so a few people, or maybe even one or two people in the guild have to, I'm not going to say that you need those characters then. That's not applicable. Young Han and Kit Fisto are on Rote missions. I will tell you that the vast majority of my guild does not have Young Han and Kit Fisto. Perhaps I should have pointed something out about that, but I don't think not having Young Han and Kit Fisto is going to prevent you from your guild dreams, unless you've got like a late to end game roster and you don't have them upgraded, and you want to get in one of the top 20 to 30 guilds in the game. Then you probably have to have them. Other than that, I don't think Young Han and Kit Fisto are going to be required by any guild bringing you on board. Yeah, we slandered Cup at the end, so yes, we said you don't need, of course, not Underworld Police, and of course you guys are all out there trolling about that, but it's still kind of fun. Fan7367 says, man, or man, or man. I don't know, dude. Nah, sorry. It says, Ada Berkamir? Ada Berkamir. Ataber Kamir? I don't know, guys. Nah, sorry. I grew up with KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2. It doesn't matter how bad Visas is. I'm still going to force her my own meta. I know it isn't efficient, but I do need it to be very efficient as long as it's a PvP. Yeah, that's why I said need. And I even did that. I did this at the beginning of the video. This is need. You don't need her, but if you want to farm her, go for it. If you want to farm Cup and Ugnot, go for it. Do it. Make it happen. Yeah, again, I'll say Ugnot is need in the Rote. Like, okay, 2, 3, or 4 players in your guild need to Relic Ugnot. I don't even know the numbers, but that's not needing a character. That's a few people needing to relic a character to get the Rote, to get that stuff done. I don't count that as needing a character. Dat Torva, I agree with Visas completely. I farmed her, just decided she wasn't worth it. I've been debating working on Baby Cal for that UFU slot, but honestly, Forehead Ray or Training Wheels Ray, yeah, works fine. Yeah, me too. Who's Training Wheels Ray? Jedi Training Ray, we're calling her. I haven't seen that one before. I just started farming her. She really not worth the effort. Only other light side UFO I have is 5-star Scavenger Ray and CLS. We'll just finish your 5. The thing about Scavenger Ray is she also is a requirement for Galactic Legend Ray and now Hondo Anaka, so she has a little bit of overlap there. So yeah, there you go. Hey, Stubborn Courage says, I will say I love my Jawas as a counter to the Geos in Grand Arena. It's not high banners, but I keep them for that specific counter and don't have to worry about that team in Grand Arena or use a much more important team against them. I get it, man. Everybody's. I put the Jawas in there except for Jawa himself because he's required for Jabba the Hutt. But if you want to farm Jawas and use them to counter Geos, have at thee. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Enjoy, if you can get Jawas to work, they're a very fun team. It's fun to throw thermals out there and just watch people just drop off the map. It is a fun time, but yeah, you just don't really need them, and it just keeps going. By the way, all right, guys, it's just constant. Everybody wants to put out that they're needed for platoons and Rote, that a few people need them. Fine, you're right. You win. You win. I don't know how to read OG Hostel now. Now this looks just like a fun little comment, I mean, I don't know. Earlier he was hating me. Now I don't know. It's interesting to me that this doesn't matter. Let's move forward. You look like Hans Landa, G1 Emser. Thank you. I've said it a lot. As we age, we all start to look the same. You lose a lot of the fatty tissues, and your skeletal contours start to come out. I don't know. Anyway, I hope I don't act like Hans Landa. Good lord. But yeah. Anyway, Cass Dobbins says, hey, CG devs. Hey guys, you know that capital ship we've been holding off on because we can't decide on the requirements? Here's a list. There it is. There it is. There's the hate. Guys, again, I just don't consider it. It's fine. I've said it. I've said it a few times. It's fine. We're good. We're good. It doesn't. You make a video like this for fun, you know. Yeah, at the end of the game, you do need some of these characters. A few people in your guild need these characters for. Go ahead, just tear into me again. Just let me have it. Let me have it. Okay, this one's funny, and we'll wrap it up on this. Chilling Place 2014. Honestly, I can't believe you'd lie to everyone like this. You're supposed to be our beloved Star Wars dad. Then you come out and do this, try and tell everyone they should not go for Cup. Relic 9 is insane. And Judah Maley takes the bait. He didn't say you shouldn't go for it. He said you don't need it. And Heresy, brother, it's a joke. He knows. He knows. If he wasn't good, then why'd they do a Lightspeed bundle? That's a fair question. If Cup isn't good, why'd they sell a Lightspeed bundle for him? Because Cup got nerfed to the fact he was too good. You do need... Yeah, there you go. There's the Cup trolling. I enjoy the Cup trolling. It's a lot of fun. There you go, boys and girls. That's what we got. I think these videos are fun. I like coming out here and taking on the chin from some of you guys. I will still contend that you can get into a high-level guild, late-game guild, without having to get all these characters. I don't care that they're required for certain missions, and especially platoons. A few characters people in your guild need to get them, but I'm sticking by this list. I'm standing by this list. It'll probably change in 6 months when they take half these characters' ships and put them into requirements for other stuff in the game. Everybody, have a great day. I'll talk to you soon, and always remember, Nooch too good.